Israel is a country of immigrants, and many Jews are still immigrating to Israel today. But the process can definitely be difficult, and it includes a new language and a different culture. Max Freidin is a Russian immigrant to Israel, and he's writing a novel about the entire experience. He's here to tell us more today. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely. So first of all, you're an immigrant to Israel, and that kind of inspired this whole book process. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, I'm not exactly an immigrant anymore. I've been here for 25 years. I was basically raised here. I came here with my family when I was 7 in the great immigration from Russia, when 1 million people came in the 90s. That's like one in 6 or 1 in 5 people probably.
Sure.
And so it's based on my story. You know, everything I do is based on my life story and my family and everything that we've been through. And the interesting thing about the immigration is that nobody really knows about it, because 1 million people came. That's 1 million voices, but their voices are not really heard because I think they don't have a voice. Like, they don't really have a voice because our grandparents came from this very interesting and many times impressive life into this very numb and sometimes sad existence. And our parents had to take care of them and take care of us. And they became children themselves in a way because they didn't know the language. And we had to translate for them, and they had to many times give up their profession. Like, my parents are musicians. They're still musicians, but so many people had to give away their profession and put on the security guard's uniform or go. And my parents used to deliver newspapers and stuff like that. And so it's very, very difficult. And there's also the younger generation, which is us, which is, we grew up here, but we have our own very interesting and little-known issues. Like, for instance, we try to become Israeli by not being Russians.
Sure.
And so all those things are not very well known, and that's the voice I'm trying to sound. I'm trying to get to know those people, not the stereotypes and not the general story, but really just go into those characters, which is me and my family and everybody, and just and explain this immigration, this great thing that happened.
Sure, the challenges they're facing.
Yeah, 25 years ago, and how they see immigration through their eyes. So that's my work. That's what I do. That's what I'm trying to do.
Now I understand this has been quite a process, and you've also created several viral videos along with this. Can you tell us more about this?
The videos are it came out of nowhere. I had to promote my book somehow.
Sure.
So I started making those videos, and I didn't think they're going to get so much attention, but I did a video where my parents play my father's a violinist, my mother plays the piano, so they play instruments, and I talk about them and their journey. It became this really emotional video, and it's very emotional because those are my parents, and they have they play at different times, like 20 years ago and 5 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And and I made a bunch of videos about Russian cartoons I haven't watched for 20 years, and suddenly I watch them again, and I come back to my childhood and tell people in Hebrew about characters like Cheburashka. I don't know if you've heard of him. No. Is probably the most famous cartoon character in Russian culture. And so I made a bunch of those videos, and they got a lot of attention, more than I ever thought I could get.
Did you find the attention was mostly from Russians in the Israeli community, or also from the broader Israeli community?
I think many from the broader community found it interesting, but I think it really touched the Russian, because just like me, it touched the nostalgia, because they don't watch those things here, and their children don't watch it. They haven't seen it for decades.
Sure.
And suddenly they see this thing from their childhood, and they remember all those feelings rush in, and I think that's what touched them so much. That's why they became so viral, because I think it touched so many of us that went through immigration, and it stirs up this emotion that we maybe didn't even think about.
Definitely.
I did this video about the identity crisis, which is another thing that everybody knows about, but nobody knows what it is. And I talked about how many Russian, people from my generation, decided to become Israeli by stop being Russian and stop speaking to their parents and look down at their parents because they were weak. And in their eyes, of course. And they were embarrassed to speak Russian. They were embarrassed of how they look and how they sound, their accent. And so I did this video, and I didn't think many are going to relate, but so many people related, and so many people wrote me stories from the bottom of their heart. They wrote me stories without punctuation. They just typed like crazy, and it was an amazing experience. It was just beautiful. I just loved it, and I realized I'm making some kind of difference.
Well, it sounds like an amazing thing that you're doing. For people that want to follow along with this, how can they go about doing that?
Well, I was trying to raise money for my book to publish it, but it's actually over today. But I have a Facebook professional page. It's called Max Freidin. It's spelled like my name, and in English and in Hebrew. So Max Freidin Writer. And so all my videos and all the stuff I write and information about my book and everything I do, and I'm planning on making videos for a very, very long time, because apparently I love it. Who knew? And so apparently I'm kind of okay doing that. And so if they want to read more or watch me, I'm going to make videos in English as well, probably. And so they can go to my page and follow.
Well, definitely. It sounds like a fantastic project, and thank you so much for sharing with us
Thank you very
about
much.
it.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.